Welcome to Let's Be Real 100%, where we are 100% real about life. We know that life happens and we are here to talk about it. And when I say we, I'm talking about it's all God and little old me. Join us as we jump into our topic today. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real 100%, where we're 100% real about life. And we're definitely here to talk about it. Listen, y'all know the last episode I had a moment of transparency. Just was thinking about a lot of things. But this has been on my heart for the last couple of days. Even after that, it was like, have you ever felt as though you done something so bad that you don't think you are worthy of God's love, grace, and mercy, let alone His salvation? Have you ever felt that you've gone so far that you feel like you're unreachable? Or have you ever felt that people have just disregarded you or talked about you or said things to you that made you feel like this is just it, there's no sunshine after this, there can't be nothing good out of this because this person said I'm my daddy's child or I'm my mom's child, and it can be in a negative way, but to know, or if you've ever or if you are in a lifestyle that is displeasing to others, or if you're doing something that's displeasing to others, whether it could be living in the LBGT world or smoking or drinking or just, as they call it, quote unquote, living your best life out there. And again, like I said, you feel so far off from living right, you don't even think to even come to live right because you feel like everything is okay. Whether somebody just pushed you out there or you've seen some Christians or some people who call themselves believers act a certain way or judge certain people that live a certain way, then you don't want to be that kind of Christian. You don't want that God that they're serving, because if that God, is mean and judgmental and, always coming at you, sideways and sending you to hell already, then what kind of God is that, I know when I was living the lifestyle, as a lesbian and drinking alcohol and, feeling like, I was unworthy already. But when I had friends and family and, even my own self, condemning myself, saying, this is what I've been fighting with. I'm not going to be able to get delivered from this. I done went too far, and even in that, feeling good about where I was at. I didn't feel like it was a problem. This is just where my mind was. I didn't feel like it was a problem. This felt more comfortable to me in this life than trying to live right, you know what I mean? And this been going on, for years and years, and it's like, all you hear is, oh, well, you're going to hell, and, didn't feel any grace, any love, like I thought I should have, especially dealing with the issues and the demons that I was dealing with. And I'm sure I'm not the only one out there who may have felt that way. You don't even have to live the lifestyle in the LBGT or, be an alcoholic like I was. But, you're living a lifestyle that is beneath what others say that you should be. and they done already sent you to hell with ice draws on, you know, in the ice basket or however they used to say it back in the day. But I want to come to you and tell you that God is not like man. It's not that it's a license to continue doing what you are doing. Absolutely not. But once you truly acknowledge that God is not the man that you're talking to, or the woman that's been talking to you, or the Christian that is walking back and forth and just, just, it could be anybody. It don't even have to be a Christian, but it just happens sometimes in the church that way. But it can be anybody that looks down upon you. But know that God is not like that. God is a God of grace, love, and mercy. And He made you in His image in the beginning. He crafted you. He thought about you. He knew exactly how He wanted you to be. Also, He died for you. Like, even when I was thinking back from my own life, that God literally, and everybody keeps saying, over 2,000 years ago, but I feel like, I don't know, it might be longer than that now, since we've been saying that for years. But in that time where He literally gave His life, He continued getting beat on, He continued to get His body broken down without saying a word, and then to have to hang on the cross for you and I. And while He's going through that, we're on His mind. Like, we wasn't even thought of back then to people. But He knew what He had to do. He continued to go the path that He was called to do. What God had told, what He sent Him here for, to be the perfect lamb, to die for sinners like you and I. He knew that we were going to rebel against Him. He knew that the paths that we were going to take. He knew all these things, but yet He died. And when He said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do," He wasn't just talking to them, the people that was around Him, the people that was beating on Him and talking bad about Him and all this other stuff. He was talking about us too. Because we know not what we do. We don't know the destruction that's before us if we continue to deny Him or continue to just, blatantly ignore Him, pretty much, But all of that was for us, the generation before, after, and forevermore, however long, we'll be here on this earth. But I truly believe, of course, that He did all for us. So to know, I don't know everyone's story. I just know mine and the ones I've been told, about. But for the ones who are out there who are really, really hurting, who are lost, who have been touched in the wrong way and have not found their way back to who their real identity is. A lot of people judge, and only reason why I'm talking about it is because I know it, I done lived it, I'm not going to say I ever wanted to change my gender, but I did act like one. Like, I was the controlling one. I was the one who, handled the money, handled the way the girl dressed and how, where and when we went out and who she hung out with. And, I was that one. Like, I was that one. I wasn't controlling, but, anyway, that's not defining enemy, but that's just who I was. I just wasn't trying to change my identity. But my spirit man, my fleshly man, wanted to be that dominant one who was able to, I guess, wear the pants. I can't really describe it because that's just what it was. And it made me feel comfortable for some reason. Like, it's crazy how sin makes you feel comfortable, make you feel so right, and knowing it's all the way wrong. I mean, I was out there in love, I was out there in sin, but, it just felt real. That's how the enemy makes it. But anyway, even out with all that being said, we don't know everybody's story and why they are the way they are at the moment. I can't tell you, oh, well, this transgender wanted to be this gender because that's just who they thought they were at birth. That's what they are manipulated to feel like. The enemy comes in to make you feel odd, not knowing, not saying all of them, but some of them may have been touched at a young age and really just felt like, okay, well, this is what, sorry about that. But, again, we never know, if that, one was touched at a young age and that's all they knew, or, something happened traumatically in their life where, they just didn't want to be who they was anymore. I remember as a young girl, that I laid on the trampoline in my backyard, and I'm sure I've said this story before. I laid on the trampoline one night, while I was back at home, and as I was laying on the trampoline, I literally buried my personality and everything that I was, the purest part of me. I felt like I buried there, right? And when I got up, that's when life truly just changed for me. That's when my eyes began to open to certain things that was going on out there, as other teens was having fun out there, smoking and drinking and having sex and, doing all the things that look real interesting to me, something that I wanted to try. And I did. And I, got caught up in there, not caring about how it affected other people around me, so, and then as I got older and as I dealt with the things that I've dealt with, some things is not even the fact that you're being touched by someone, it's the fact that generational curses are there as well. As I look back over my family's life, they dealt with incest, they dealt with, gayness and lesbianism, and they dealt with alcoholism, they dealt with, smoking weed and drugs and, all these things. And, it's not like something that sometimes you don't ask for it. It's just something that you walk into, and it's like, it seems so easy because it's been a generational thing. But with all that being said, like I said, I'm not giving the enemy no credit, like, at all. But I know he's out there and he's deceiving people with these things, that it's okay to, live this lifestyle. And it's not, it's not. But what I'm not here to do is, condemn you or send you to hell, because I know the struggle. Like, I know how hard it is, to deal with it. Even after my own marriage, I left, in my own transparency, I left, and thinking that, I was just going to go back and just, just separate from my husband or whatever. But knowing that spirit was right there waiting, like, just waiting. Like, he knew that I was going to go back out there and do what I was doing even before I got married, and he made the excuse of, you got married because you was running from me. And I got married just so I can run from it. And that's not what I needed. I needed God. I needed God to come in and, love all of it out of me, and it was, the love of the saints and the love of the people who prayed for me. But at the same time, I had to know and be willing to want to change my life, because a girl was tired, honey. I was real tired out there. And, the alcohol was just a way of numbing, everything that was going on in my mind and everything that people were saying about me, And then sleeping around with women, it was like, okay, I felt like the dominant one, like I was in control of my life. I wasn't being told what to do. I wasn't, having it to be submissive. I wasn't, arguing all the time. I didn't have to deal with all that, man. Like, it was just too much, and I felt like, okay, well, this is what I'm gonna be, and that's it, that's all. Like, whatever. Like, if you like me, like me. If you don't love me, don't love me. It don't even matter. I'm out here in the streets, and this is what I choose, but the way God is set up, let me tell you, He will send people in your life, and the people that are already in your life will be like, no, you're just not gonna give up like that, And I can truly say, my parents, all four of my parents, they were there and they were displeased, highly displeased. Because what parent wouldn't be, especially if you've been raised right as I was in the church 7 days a week, okay? And still, out there wilding out. But to know that your daughter is out there, living out, this life that's displeasing, it's quite disappointing. But they were there for me in prayer after, going through the emotions of it all, knowing that I wasn't going to bow down, I wasn't really around family like that when I was out there, but, because I knew the conviction, I knew that, I didn't feel like hearing nobody. I didn't feel like hearing all of that, just to be honest. But on top of that, I had my leader. When I say, my leader, my apostle, my friend, like the man of God that, teaches and talks to us about certain things. And I say this man never gave up on me. He didn't. When I say the man was calling me every day, asking me what's going on. Like, what is it that he needs to do? Like, what we need to talk about, what we need to, counsel me. Like, what is it, that's keeping you out there, and every time I talked to him, I cried. Like, I was sick of crying. Like, I was sick of crying because I was like, I was already condemned. I was already convicted in my own spirit because I knew it wasn't right, but it felt so good. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to live my life. I didn't want to live a good life. I didn't want to live a holy life. I didn't. But to know that, he was there calling me every day, checking in on me, on my breaks, he, and even at times he would slide in, knock on the door and be like, you good? Just pop-up visits. Like, it was crazy. But that's what I learned about the pursuit of God, with the ones that are truly holy, the ones that are, the ones that are in your life, pulling you back into who you've been called to, your identity, your, everything, who you are in God, pulling that out and killing everything that's been said to you and all that stuff, don't push them people away. I'm just saying. All that being said, the ones who are out there, if you're listening, if you're dealing with anything, again, it doesn't have to be, anything with, LBGT. It could be anything. It could be alcoholism. It could be smoking. It could be, depression. It could be stress. It could be a number of things that you're dealing with that you don't, open up about, or you feel like you're alone and you're isolated. You feel like you're unreachable. You feel like that God wouldn't accept you in the kingdom. He wouldn't accept you because you don't went too far. Like, you feel like you're dirty. I'm just saying, these are the things I felt. And I ain't even started on me being diagnosed with HIV. We're going to come back in that with another episode. But living the lifestyle of that long. And then again, if you ever felt that way in any way, shape, or form, God is there for you in all of it. I'm just saying. He's not that kind of God that people, portray at times. Let him come into your life. Let him show you who he is in your life and who he's called you to be. Let him show you the love that you deserve. Let him show you your true identity in him, because that's where our identity is in the first place. The day that you were born, the times that you were even in your mother's womb, when your mother didn't even know who you are, what you was, what gender you were, whatever, he was forming you in the womb. He knew who you were going to be, what you were going to do, the path that you was going to take, but he also knew that you were going to come back to him. He knew that you were going to serve him. He knew that you were going to defeat the enemy that's within your life and other people's lives by sharing your story about how you were out there and you were struggling with this spirit, you were struggling with these things, and how you came out. We all have a story of victory in our lives. We have a testimony of victory because we found out who our Father was. We found out who Jesus was in our life. We found out what true love was. We found out what grace was really about. We found out what mercy was really about, by him teaching us and him showing us through people and people's testimonies, and allowing him to come into our lives more intimate in our hearts, and continuously to cleanse us and make us whole. I know they say, come as you are. It is true. Come as you are, because some of these spirits, I'm telling you, we can't fight on our own. We can't. And it's a daily walk. It's not like, oh, I'm saved today and I don't gotta deal with no spirits no more. Absolutely not. Because I promise you, after you say that prayer with the people of God at the altar, guess what? That spirit is waiting at you at the door. He's going to come at you harder, because then now, oh my God, now this person found out who they really are in God. And now I need to really just try to destroy them more, because now my kingdom is in trouble. And he knows his kingdom is in trouble, because we are going to come full strong for him. And we're going to show that we are victors in God. We are victors in God, because we know that God won in the end, in the end anyway, from the beginning. So he knows he lost. He's just trying to take everybody with him. But let me tell y'all something. We ain't going down with him, okay? We coming with God. We going back home with the Lord. Y'all hear me? We're going back home with God. And the devil is going to be defeated with him and all his little imps and whoever else is with him. But anywho, I just wanted to encourage y'all to know that God loves you. You didn't go too far. You're not too dirty. You're not unworthy. You're not who people say that you are. You're not even who you say you are. Just know that God is there with his arms open and he's knocking. If you hear his word, if you see his arms stretched out, don't turn your back on him. Because we know in this world today, people dropping like flies. And tomorrow's not promised. Tomorrow's not promised to neither one of us. So, if you hear my low voice or whatever kind of voice I got right now, because I don't know what I sound like, I probably sound like I'm rambling on and on. But at the same time, I just want to make it so clear via my testimony and via, how good God is and what he has come to do in our lives and what he has done for us by dying on the cross, going through those beatings, going through, what he'd been through those last 3 years of his ministry, because he thought of us. We wasn't even thought of in the people's eyes, but we was thought of in his mind. And he knew that we were going to need him more and more nowadays, more than ever. So, again, if you hear my voice, and if you ever been pondering, let God come into your life. I claim not to be a prophet. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a preacher. I'm not nothing. I'm just a servant, as I always say. I'm a servant. I'm Tony LaShawn. I go by Sean, but a servant of God, and that's what I am. And I'm not, again, this is not to condemn you. This is not to, you know, tell you what you gonna do, what you have to do, or whatever, but making it a choice. In God's word, he says, choose ye this day whom you gonna serve. And when you read on, it's two scriptures that say, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, and God comes to give life more abundantly. Which one would you choose? And then he turns around and answers that question. He says, choose life more abundantly, and he's going to take care of you. He said, come ye who are weary and heavy laden, and he's going to give you rest. And it's not that we're always in a physical battle, but it could be a mental battle. It can be all kinds of battles going on, within your identity and with your spiritual walk and all kinds of things. So come to God. I say it all the time. Come to God, come to God, come to God, because it's time. And that's just not what I like to say. I love to say it. But, I'm saying, not just going to say it over and over again, because I'm not doing it. I'm not going to tell you something that I'm not doing. Like, I still struggle at times, and I'm here, and I'm asking God daily, please come into my life daily, and, make me stronger every single day, So I urge you to come to God. I urge you, because it's time. It's past time. If you don't hear nothing else I say on this podcast, come to God. God is wanting you. God loves you. God is not mad at you. He's saying that, his arm is not too short or his ears too heavy to hear you. But it's the things that we have that's distracting us, that makes us feel good, that makes us, distracted in this world. The sins that we're doing is, keeping us far away from God. So as soon as you acknowledge him, ask him to come into your life and continue to walk that walk. It's not a one night thing. It's a daily day thing. So again, come to God, and this is your girl Sean coming at you again with an encouraging video, and I'll come to talk to y'all later. Bye. Thank you for listening to Let's Be Real 100%, where we're 100% real about life. We hope that you enjoyed the topic today, and we hope that you trust God more and more each day, and we hope to see you next week.